anyone else got life figured out? Yeah, me neither. And the funny thing is, as a therapist, people assume I've got my life perfectly together, like I have all the answers. Boy, are they wrong. What about y'all? Do you feel like you did everything right, checked the boxes, followed the plan, showed up the way you were supposed to, and still find yourself thinking, wait, how did I get here? Yeah, me too. Life rarely gives us the smooth, predictable road we expect. More often, it's winding, full of detours we never planned. And in those moments, we land in a space I've come to call the Ajana. Ajana is a Bengali word for the unknown, the not yet revealed. I don't claim it as mine. I use it with deep respect as it gave me language I didn't have. As a therapist, most of my work is sitting with people in that in-between space, where the old way doesn't work anymore and the new way hasn't shown up yet. And maybe for you, this is the space after a job loss, the silence after a relationship ends, the uncertainty of moving to a new city. My question for you is this: what do we do when we land there? Most of us just keep pushing until we can't anymore, until we finally admit to ourselves, this doesn't feel right. Now, the truth is, my job as a therapist would be a lot less busy if people didn't fear the unknown, so for that, I'm oddly grateful. I first heard the word Ajana in the most unlikely place, on a short-lived sitcom called Alex Inc. In one episode, the main character's mother-in-law tells a story from her childhood in Bengal. Her father sent her to fetch water alone, something girls weren't supposed to do. She was scared, and he said to her, "You don't even know what you're afraid of. You must never fear the Ajana, because Ajana is where all the good things happen." That moment stopped me in my tracks, because here's the thing. Most of us hate the unknown. And there's so much of that right now, isn't there? Our brains are wired for a complete story, beginning, middle, end, resolution. And when life doesn't give us that resolution, we panic, we spiral. That's why uncertainty feels so unbearable, why we cling to the illusion of control, schedules, rituals, routines, because it makes us feel safe. And then life shifts, and we don't like it. But the reality is, as Socrates so bluntly puts it, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. I know, that one stings a bit, right? Maybe that's why Ajana hit me so hard, because it gave me a word for that space we all try to avoid, where nothing's resolved yet. So we pretend, we force certainty, we try to write endings way too soon. Or, something I'm definitely guilty of, we stay too long, because letting go feels scarier than the unknown. And maybe you felt this too. But what if transformation starts before things make sense? What if it actually begins in the middle of the mess? For me, on the outside, I looked like I was doing fine. I was building a group practice, showing up for my clients, holding space for those I supervised. By all appearances, I had it together. Inside was a different story. I wore exhaustion like a badge of honor, like suffering meant success. I thought naming my practice after the Ajana meant I was honoring the unknown. But guess what? Naming it isn't the same as living it. Really, I was building something for everyone else to stand on while I stayed buried underneath. But the Ajana kept showing up. Subtle at first, then impossible to ignore, until I paid attention. And when I stopped finally fighting the Ajana, because I'm stubborn like that, I realized I needed to stop performing resilience and to stop mistaking sacrifice for love. And eventually, I realized that dissolving my practice, the very thing that so many people saw as proof of my success, was not failing or giving up. It was trust in myself. That's what it really meant for me to step into the Ajana. Saying no when I meant no, resting when my body told me to stop, and choosing not to betray myself just to keep everyone else comfortable, though it hasn't been easy. For you, it may look or feel like something else entirely. But however it shows up for you, when we get more comfortable in the ajna, healing means unlearning all the ways we were taught to run from discomfort. Dr. Alok Kanoja has a word for this: deconditioning. Basically, it's exposure therapy, but for your entire life. And just like therapy, it rarely feels like progress when you're in the middle of it. Driving home late one night, I passed a church sign that read, "No one ever got lost on a straight road." I mean, I see what they were trying to do here, but I had to laugh. Because if life is a straight road, if my life is a straight road, it's been full of construction, potholes, and plenty of Houston traffic. And as annoying as those delays and bumps are, I realized they're not keeping us from life. They are life. The problem is, when the road starts to get too rough, we start to believe that joy is temporary, that when something good happens, something bad must be right around the corner. But why don't we flip it? Why don't we believe the opposite? That when bad things come, and they will, joy is also on its way. It's like the movie Inside Out reminded us. Without sadness, we wouldn't even recognize joy. And especially in times like these, when the unknown feels so heavy and our future so uncertain, feminist poet Toy Derricott reminds us, joy is an act of resistance. Because in a world that keeps demanding more hustle, more resilience, more pretending we're fine, choosing to soften, to laugh, to relish, that's refusing to let fear have the last word. I think we all could use a little more of that, don't you? And like I tell my almost 8-year-old daughter, who's here tonight, you can be brave and scared at the same time. And honestly, every time I say it, I'm reminding myself of that too. Because living in the ajna isn't about fearlessness. It's about admitting to ourselves, I don't know how this is going to turn out. It's about connection, what relational cultural theory reminds us of, that healing doesn't happen in isolation, but in relationship. And it's about refusing to perform resilience when what we all really need is rest. We spend so much time chasing the after, when really, what if the in-between itself is the success, not just a thing that we have to grit our way through to get somewhere better? Or, as Tracy Ellis Ross says, I'm learning every day to allow the space between where I am and where I want to be to inspire me and not terrify me. And with that, I invite you to wonder, what if the unknown isn't the thing we're supposed to conquer, but the place we're meant to live? I know. I believe our greatest challenge and our greatest opportunity is to live in that space. So, if you find yourself in the ajna, uncertain, uncomfortable, afraid, stay. Lean into it. I know, it's not easy, but that's where transformation lives. Not beyond it, not after it, but inside it. Don't fear the ajna, because that's where the good stuff lives. Thank you.